Hey everybody, thanks for returning back to Electric Cafe. Today's video is about Arne Weinberg. Arne Weinberg, I say was because he doesn't do electronic music anymore. He seemed to kind of, I wouldn't say retire, but kind of moved on and do different things. Um, he's a Detroit style techno producer, some dub techno, really talented producer. Um, he started in roughly 2000 and then had quite a bit of great music. And then somewhere around like 2012, 2013, kind of left the music industry, um, which was unfortunate. I got a chance to talk to him a few times over the years. A really nice guy. He was born in Germany, and then lived in UK for a while. I just was I don't know if there was. I was probably his biggest fan when his first few years. I mean, I bought everything from him. I really thought his style of Detroit techno was so refreshing and one of the better ones to do it. I kind of consider like if you guys know Detroit techno, so there's the original generation first of Detroit techno producers, and that's your Juan Atkins, your Derek May, your Kevin Saunderson, Blake Baxter, etc., etc. And then there's kind of like what they call like a second wave of generation. That's kind of your Stacy Poland, your Carl Craig, your Kenny Larkin, maybe Theo Parrish, Drexy is in there. A lot of really strong producers. Um, and then and then you have sort of a European take on Detroit techno that was going on at the same time as the second wave. And then you kind of have like what I call like a third wave, what I call like a third wave of generation, which was kind of the futuristic generation. And it was kind of, so you have the isolated Detroit sound, and then you have a European techno sound, the second wave, and the next generation. Only a few years after it's kind of the second generation, what they label of Detroit techno. And then what I consider kind of the third generation is once those first two kind of impacted the scene, and then fast forward a decade, then you have like the next generation of producers making they're all kind of their own kind of Detroit techno inspired, and generally that was on the I wouldn't say more mellow side, but they're kind of going away from. I mean, second generation kind of started the movement away from, even though it was kind of rave days, kind of going away from the rave, kind of more of the faster techno and the kind of keeping more melodic, and then still had kind of dystopian, kind of post-apocalyptic, futuristic techno, and then you kind of come to what I call the third generation, and they're kind of maybe a little bit more mellow, kind of understanding the house music is important for the genre, kind of doing a little bit more ambient pieces. And just for example, some of those artists I consider, really strong in that period are kind of your CIM, your Future Beat Alliance, Stasis is in there. Certainly Derek Carr's in there. Arne Weinberg's in there. John Shima's in there. You know, it's just a lot of really strong producers, and Arne's one of my favorites of that style, and he was a perfect example of that, still that 90s techno rhythm, but kind of being a little bit more, wouldn't say melancholy, but um, being a little bit more well-rounded with his style of Detroit techno. And I kind of wanted to highlight some of his music, or show some of the music that I have of his. I think I first record of his in like 2001, which was one of his first, which was Through the Colonnades. And me, when I heard this one, I just he was one of my favorite artists to look for the next next decade, really. I mean, until he retired in 2012. I just bought so much of his stuff. I mean, Through the Colonnades just kind of set the tone. These are in no particular order. This is one of his really strong early ones, the Snowflake EP, um, on Ground Zero Records, which was tied to was Down Low Records as well. This is a really good album. You can see my Sonic Groove sticker still on the front there. Orange sticker that knows, right? The old Sonic Groove records. Shout out to Frankie Bones and Adam X and Heather Hart. Um, Snowflake is one of the strongest early EPs. This one was on 11th Hour Recordings, Confessions of a Believer. Really strong. If you don't know Arne Weinberg stuff, definitely check him out. This one was on 11th Hour Recordings. Um, the Amazing Headspace label was a perfect example of the style of music he would fit with, that Dan Curtin, Ian O'Brien kind of next generation style. Arne Weinberg also was featured had another track on another EP that I have. It's more, I probably have it with my Derek Carr music. Yeah, probably with my Derek Carr records. This is Romantic Machinery. If I remember correctly, Resilience is really strong on this album. Whole EP is really good. Just a amazing artist. Here he sent me a record. This actually goes with the Headspace records, if I'm not mistaken. Hey Tim, hope you like. Greets from Arne. This is when he sent me a record. Which isn't this one, because I remember this is the record that this was the second record I bought after Through the Colonnades, and it's considered one of his best. Beauty and Decay. All four tracks on here are really amazing, and this kind of has the download symbol here. I'm not sure how Ground Zero and Download were related, if anything, but it seems like I always think of those two labels a lot at the same time, and it's probably because they both had an Arne Weinberg record on it. But this record is very desirable. As far as just you got to get a copy if you don't have it. It's probably my favorite Arne record. Probably first or second, because that's kind of why I have his writing on this one, because it means so much to me. But I think a lot of his songs are kind of derivatives of this particular style that happened. Through the Colonnades was a little different. This is when he this and the Snowflake EP that I just showed you, this is when he kind of came into his own and really kind of, I wouldn't say developed his style, but kind of turned into his signature sound. And a lot of that you get in here. If you guys know Arne Weinberg stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. Not Ground. Down Low is separate. It's Keynote in Ground Zero. Were the two labels that I get confused together. I'm sorry. This one's a Capula EP. Another strong one. This is an early one as well. He just was on a roll here. Here's a later one. He started the Diametric label, his own label, mostly for ambient and a little bit deeper techno. It included these really cool kind of sleeves in them. They're kind of, which I thought was unique. A lot of them were black label, 300 copies generally. They were kind of limited ones, and he just kind of had them in a nice thing with the fold-out sleeve, which is cool, which is unique. I can't find my Ejecta. He also did music under Ejecta. I couldn't find that record. It must be in my collection somewhere. But this one, the title track Chrome, was one of his, in my opinion, like one of his last, wouldn't say last good records, but really the last song that really kind of wowed me from his from his years. Just a really strong record. Um, he also had the AW label, and that was kind of just thought I'd show this why I'm at this promo. AW05. This is Arel Ranson's. Shout out to you, Arel. It's a really strong record on AW's label. This was one of his 2 albums. I do need to get the first album. This is Alpha and Omega. Kind of interesting, kind of a box CD. This one's kind of bigger than a regular CD, right? This is, kind of cool. It has like a more of a cardboard, it's like a small book or a CD. Unfortunately, that's the issue with most of these types of CDs. Is I haven't opened this one in a while, but this one doesn't necessarily hold that great. It's a 2-disc set on Alpha and Omega, but really strong record, strong CD. His other one I want to get that on vinyl. Another early one of his. This is a 7-inch Spectral Disease. Gives a lot of nice shout outs on here. 7-inch, 300 copies. This was AW01, kind of the start of the AW label. Very cool. This happens to be a record that has an Arne track on it, but I just kind of keep it with it because I don't necessarily follow the other artists on it. This was on Pseudo's. If you guys know Pseudo label, I think it was from Chicago. They picked up on Arne's sound and had him on it on one of their 4-track compilations, which was a smart idea because his music's great. And the track was called so hard to read these. Something appears. I can't read it. The font is so unique. Maritime Affairs? It's really cool. Here's him on the slow-lived Star Baby label, I think it was called back in the day. Star Baby label. Crusade EP, which is one of his, another strong one as well. 2001 here, it looks like. 2002. The Fabrice League remix on here is really strong as well. Maybe a couple of years later, I think it's 2005 or so, he was on Nerita Records. He had a track called Polar Exclises on various artists called Terminal One. Let's see what else. I'm missing a few of his in here. I couldn't find them. Here's one he shared with Sean Rudiman. This was Technora 3, Chord Control. And he has a couple tracks on the B-side, In Between and My Testimony, 2003. In a different sleeve. This is actually a substatic sleeve, but for some reason it's in there. Let's see what's in here. Oh, AW02. This is probably it's hard to say this isn't my first or second favorite record of his. Solitude EP. Solitude of the Brave. His original and then Sean Rudiman's remix. Those 2 tracks are so amazing, but then Catching Butterflies on the other side is just one of my most favorite tracks by him. But 3 of the 4 tracks on here just amazing. And then you have another AW on here. I think this is AW09. This is Parabolin, which I think is a little, if I remember correctly, is a little bit more minimal. And then I have a few of his stuff on Echo Chord. I just don't have it here. They're in my Echo Chord section, which I couldn't find. But he also did music under Ambient, name of I guess it was Valenex. Valenex. This one's called Monolith. Um, nice presentation. You can see number 50 of 150, so I guess there was 150 copies of this CD. Here's a Fatal Tangent Cenotaph. More stuff he did under Valence. He was always doing interesting stuff with the cases. This is kind of like a CD DVD case, but a lot thinner. Kind of interesting. I like the idea of the side label, which is really cool. There was 200 copies here. 147, 200 copies. This is Ejecta, which is the other one I couldn't find, the Ejecta remixes record, also on Diametric. But yeah, really cool. And then also, lastly, he did these little CDs as well. There was a gold, silver, and I think white one. I think, and here I have two of them. I need to get the other third one. Unfortunately, I don't have something that can play this, so I still haven't heard these, and these are going on 15 years. Really cool kind of CDs. It's hard to tell, but they're textured lines on them. Very cool. And obviously the gold one here, textured as well. Interesting CD. Again, I don't have something that plays this. I have a few others, in the section while I pulled it. In fact, I pulled this one. This was interesting. By a guy named Offland. That's really cool. Micro CDs. So I haven't got a chance to hear those two yet. Not necessarily Arne's music, but also on his label here. Sons of Melancholia. 64 out of 150 is. I like these packages, are cool. Orpheon, more ambient stuff. I'm not sure how many copies they do of this one. Maybe it doesn't say. This one does. This one's 150 copies. This one's Mind Over MIDI. R.I.P. Mind Over MIDI. He passed away like 3 or 4 years ago. Kind of sad. Really strong ambient producer as well. But yeah, those are some of my stuff on Diametric. I have a few other records which I didn't necessarily bring over because they weren't Arne Weinberg, but I figured those are in my same CD section, so I figured I'd show you those. But I do have the Optic Nerve and a couple other of the records on Diametric, and I'm missing a few here specifically from the Echo Chord label. But yeah, I mean, Arne Weinberg stuff is so strong. I like, if you don't know his stuff and you like Detroit techno, like, check out his work. It's just, if I had to say pick three favorite tracks, it'd be hard because I don't know the names of all of them. But Catching Butterflies is in there, and so is Brave of the New World, and either put Chrome or the track that I can't think of the title that's on the Headspace UK compilation. It is really strong. There's also, I know, a couple really good ones. I in here that would battle for top three. It'd be really hard. But do you guys have a favorite Arne Weinberg record? If you guys know his stuff, I'd be curious to hear. And if you guys haven't heard of Arne Weinberg, it's Weinberg. I guess you guys can see that from the video. Yeah, check out some of his work and tell me what you think. Maybe check out the Beauty in Decay EP. Those 4 tracks are just phenomenal. Those are probably, I said top 3, and I need to include one song off probably my favorite EP of his. That's how strong his collection is. Unfortunately, only over a little bit over a decade before he before he retired. But maybe he'll watch this video. Maybe I'll email him and see what he's up to. Tell him hi and uh, tell him I did a video on him and hope he's doing well. And we miss him here in the techno scene and miss his music. And um, maybe come back sometime and put out some new music. Would be exciting. If you need a label, just call me. I'll be happy to put out some of your music. That'd be awesome. But yeah, really appreciate his work, and kind of sad to see him go. But I honor that and salute that, and I respect that opinion. And if he doesn't, for whatever reason it is, and not just keep putting, and not just put out bad music for the sake of it and to do music, or because people want it. Like, if you don't have something to say and you don't feel the need to make music, I respect that, and that's probably the best reason not to do music. I'm sure there's some people out there that do music that don't want to do music, and we have to suffer and listen through it. I'm sure that happens on pop radio a lot. People that don't want to make certain type of music, but they have to make music to sell, or feed their family, or some crazy reason like that, instead of getting a real job, or not real job, but another job. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys check out Arne Weinberg again. Just curious, what's your favorite album by Arne Weinberg, or your favorite 3 tracks? All right, so thanks for watching.